watching QTV this morning, and I'm Jennifer Sonko. I'm here with my usual amazing co-host, Ibrahim Abalde, and our guest, Mr. Adedrami. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Always a pleasure, and I just want to say I'm not wearing any makeup, by the way.
Oh, I'm not. So none of us is wearing makeup.
Oh, you're not?
I'm not wearing makeup.
Oh.
So I've not been wearing makeup for the past 3 weeks, and it has been really, really amazing.
Has it felt liberating?
Yeah, I feel so normal.
Okay.
You know, because it's really difficult, because normally with the makeup it clogs your pores.
Yeah.
Then the cleansing is difficult.
Yeah.
So now I feel confident in it.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to
I think
Liberation.
the more you go without
the
it,
more you go without makeup, the more
definitely.
obviously on the news I have
Yeah.
the subtle makeup now.
Yeah.
But on this morning it's just no makeup for me.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I think natural is good. Look at your skin. I mean, I am even surprised you are glowing without makeup.
I am. I agree
you
with
understand?
that. I am definitely.
There was a day I saw a young lady make-upped. I mean, that's the time I went home and said to my wife,
Made up.
before you make up,
Yeah.
make sure you check the type
In
of
the
makeup
mirror.
you apply. I mean, she was white on her
Yeah.
face and
Yeah.
black
Yeah.
on the neck.
Because they
You
didn't use the
understand?
right shade.
You know,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
Yeah,
Who
because
is
the
she?
person didn't use the right
You
shade.
get that a lot. I mean, you
You
see
know.
some people on screen and you think, don't they have friends? who
Yeah, to
spoke
tell them the truth.
that, you know, you shouldn't do this and so on. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
then
sometimes-
skincare is actually really
But
expensive.
I think you use the word, sometimes it takes confidence.
It takes-
You know, once you get used to using makeup, you get used to it.
Yeah, you feel
And
like
then you
without
think,
it.
oh, without it, I'm not, you know. But
And
then
I used to be like that. I used to be like, oh, without makeup, if I'm not in the field, I can't sit here.
Yeah.
Right.
Previously, but that's not the case anymore.
That's good.
Yeah, and then since then, I feel like my skin looks so glassy.
I mean, the people who're selling makeup are probably getting angry with
They're
us
getting
right
angry
now.
right now.
right now, but, you know, chill.
Well,
Yeah.
there was a day when QTV started that rule. Every presenter should go into the studio and do your makeup,
By right.
male or female.
female.
Yeah.
You know, I
Because
told them.
that's in every
Yeah,
TV
by
studio
right.
around,
I
around
told
the
them
world.
the other
yeah.
day, look, I mean, for me, I cannot imagine seeing myself in makeup.
It's normal.
And I went inside the makeup room. Mariama makeup me, and I came on screen. When I saw myself, I was like, am I the one? Who is that guy?
Is that me?
Who is that me?
Yeah.
No way. I was like black and funny.
Oh. Oh,
So
dear.
Because it's in your head.
Yeah, so it's
But it actually makes the image
is-
look better.
This is me.
Yeah, you know, when
If
you
it's
have
done,
the
if it's-
powder.
particularly if
It
it's done well.
Yeah, if
Make
it's
me
done
look-
Because
well.
it takes away the shine.
Yes, the
yeah,
oiliness.
things like that. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
and
which
all
the
of
kind
that.
of natural oiliness.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is good.
Mr. Ade, you did mention something very significant here when we were talking about the makeup just now. I mean, you said, didn't they have friends that will advise them? There's something that comes to my mind, and I think we need to share this with the general public. You know, there's a proverb that says, only your friend will tell you you have mouth odor.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true.
right.
You understand?
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to talk about that.
Yeah.
Mouth odor. Very significant. I know. Jenna Bobby.
I know where this is coming from.
Jenna Bobby.
I know. No, because
no.
this was a conversation even before we came. You.
No, but it's.
Allahu Akbar.
No, it's not about
I
that.
know where this is coming
But
from.
anyway,
No,
yeah.
it's
Because
no, no.
Yeah.
it's
No, but
building up
I mean,
from when
from-
upstairs when we were talking
important.
about it.
It's important for us to talk to the general public.
But I think
The significance of
Okay,
it.
for me, I don't blame everyone.
yeah.
Honestly,
Let's
because
talk
yeah,
about it.
because we were
Maybe
talking-
we can help
yeah,
someone
because
outside.
we were talking.
That's
we had
why
a
I'm
guest.
talking about it.
We brought
The
a
doctor.
dentist here.
The
A dentist
dentist,
came here
yes.
before, and he was talking about dental care and all of that.
Yes.
He mentioned something very important. He was like, the poverty rate in the Gambia is so huge that somebody would rather look for something to eat than to go for dental care, like to go. But then obviously there are remedies, there are other, things that you can use to actually work on it.
Well, you
but
know-
the thing is, it also comes with, the upbringing, your parents, do they understand where they also taught, you weren't taught, so it's like a,
I watched a
whole
documentary when I was off, the few days I was off. There was a documentary and it was some Rasta men, and they were talking, and one of them was saying that for 35 years he hadn't used toothpaste. He used
Wow.
a chew stick and just water. He said, you know, I can't afford toothpaste. He said, even if I could, I wouldn't want to use it.
Yeah.
He said, but all I have is this stick. I
And
chew.
it works.
He said, and that's what I use to clean my teeth.
And it
I
works.
wash with water. And
But,
And it
but
works.
I don't think
you know,
the
so-
stick will clean your tongue.
No,
as
they
well,
use-
because
they-
you
no.
need
Yeah,
to,
because the tongue, yeah.
because you need to clean your tongue when brushing.
Yeah,
I mean,
but generally,
it's
there's a lot to
significant.
talk about today.
Yeah.
Aside from dental
aside
health,
from
but
talking to
obviously,
your friends,
you
yeah.
know, we will do a follow-up with the doctor. Obviously, the doctor at
And
Sharabi is very
dental guy.
open,
Oh,
so we can
Dr.
do the
Oni.
sensitization.
My advice is let's clean our mouth thoroughly,
I agree.
in and out.
I agree.
Yes.
So the conversation is building up from upstairs.
No, it's
Me,
not
Mr.
actually
Ade, I will not
building
be
up
having
from-
conversation with this guy up
Ever
and bring it
again.
down. Ever again. It will never happen because
Last
this
time,
guy
last
can
time.
shame you.
As far as
Me,
listen,
I'm done.
listen,
But
Jennifer.
anyway, let's move on
as
because due to
as
time.
far as it is going to benefit the general public.
Yeah.
Time.
Due to time
We are going to talk
constraints, we're
about
just
it.
going to move on quickly. What is our African proverb?
It reads, however a black cow is, the milk is always white.
No, it says, however black a cow is.
Oh.
Not how, you said, however a black
however
cow is.
black a cow is, the milk is always white. And this proverb is from the Gambia.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Do any of you recognize this as coming from the Gambia?
Yeah, well,
I mean, but if we delve into it, I mean, I guess it's don't judge by outward appearances.
I agree.
Appearances can be deceptive.
Yep.
Don't judge a book by a cover.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
That's
because,
kind of right.
as you know, it says, you know, cow is black, and yet the milk
Yeah.
will be white. If you look at the cow, you think, I bet that cow is going to give black milk.
Yeah, but that's
you're
not
going to
okay.
be you're going to be disappointed. But I guess, you know, it's a interesting one.
Yeah, actually, you know, no matter how you look in the outer part, we all have blood running in our veins.
Sure.
Blood running in your veins.
Cut
blood
me,
running.
I will bleed.
Yeah,
red,
whatever
red.
you cut. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, you cut the person and the person's gonna bleed, and it's going to
Whether-
be blood,
no
not
matter what
milk,
their
not
color.
water.
Yeah, go
No
ahead.
matter how they look.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what it's, you know, just putting to my mind. For example, you know, when you see all this violence that has to do with race, you know, you think
was going
about
to
those
go-
things,
I
you
was
know,
going to come to that,
racial violence.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, when those things happen, you're like, oh, this person's white, this person's, you know, dark. Then at the end of the day, when you hurt the individual, blood is gonna come out.
As
So-
Martin Luther King
yeah.
said, judge them by the content of their character,
Exactly.
not the color of
Yes,
their skin.
and generally that's
Yeah.
how I judge people.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it's a bit difficult because normally in Gambia here it's about how the person looks. You know, the first impression, how the person looks. It matters, but for me, you have to talk.
To people before
When you
can.
talk,
Yeah,
that's when
then
I
you
judge.
get- this is it.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you don't talk, like what you say from your mouth,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna conclude. I'm like, oh, this is this. But
mean-
just looking at you and you didn't speak to me, no, I can't place any judgment on
And
you.
sometimes it's a lesson that we learn in life. I mean, there's a friend now who she's been a friend for about 42
Yeah.
years, and I used to see her all the time, and somehow there's something about her that I just thought, oh, she doesn't look a nice person.
Yeah,
And you know, but the first time we spoke,
you guys just judge.
within 10 minutes, it's like we'd known each other forever. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
not good
and
to
I used to
judge.
see her for a long time in the Sierra Leone community in London, and you know, and we just within about 10 minutes we hit
Yeah.
it off
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
and we've been friends ever since
Yeah,
for
so
40 plus
generally,
years.
and it
Yeah.
happens in our
Yeah.
communities. You see somebody and you're like, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah,
this is
yeah.
a nice
Yeah,
person
quite.
based on the person's face
Or mannerism or whatever.
Yes,
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, like I said, the moment you speak,
Yeah.
I can tell if this is a smart person,
Yeah.
if this is not a smart person. You know, you can easily tell. And I'll know if this is my guy or not.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, not okay to judge people by just looking at them. I think it is totally unfair.
Yeah,
Well, that's quite right. I think, you know, I agree. At least for once, I've agreed with Mr. Adi and Janaba. You know,
Very
we
unusual.
would
Before.
concord. You know, but I mean, not always.
yeah, yeah.
Do not judge the book by its cover.
cover.
You know, sometimes you need to go deep to know the individual.
Agree.
You know, and certain people, maybe they might appear in a certain way because of certain situations.
Right.
But you need to, you know, dig deep into their past,
Sometimes
maybe,
you don't
to
even
know
need to
who
dig
they are.
deep.
Yeah, quite.
Sometimes you don't even need to dig deep. You know, just the normal conversation, line of conversation, you can easily
Yeah,
tell.
yeah. I've seen people too whom, you know, if you look at them, you think these people, they are not the type of people that you're looking for. But once you engage them, like Jennifer said,
it's
you will
different.
definitely
Like Mr.
know,
Adi
wow.
said too, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
As we
You
say
know.
in Salon, no look me by
It is
looking.
said a woman is beautiful until she speaks.
Until? But
She
even when she speaks, can she not still be
If
beautiful?
she speak
I mean, until?
and she thinks with her feet, I mean, obviously, you will know the type of
What about a
person she is.
man? Is a man handsome until
No,
he
but
speaks?
that's the proverb.
To
I'm
me-
reading the
Okay,
quote for you. I'm
fine.
reading the
For
quote.
me, yes, a man is handsome until the man speaks. I'm a conversations person. Believe in having nice conversations, talking about things, adding value to each other's lives. That's how I see relationships. So for me, even if you whatever and that does not exist, then you're not meant for me.
I once went to a barbecue party in London in an area called Streatham, and there was a lady. She was sitting there. I'd known the family, but I hadn't known her.
Yeah.
And I walked up and we started talking. I swear, I think for the next 8 hours we just chatted.
Yeah.
We didn't even engage with all the other people in the barbecue.
Yeah.
We just found each other so interesting. And it wasn't anything
nice.
romantic or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
okay.
Just
Okay,
intelligent conversation, and it was fantastic.
no problem.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
You're
No,
sticking to
the
it.
story is
I'm not digging any further. I'm
the
not going to
story-
dig any further.
That story is not complete.
Yeah.
Let's adjourn that for another day.
Let's go for a short break. And when we come back, we'll head right on to the newspapers. Don't go anywhere.
The art of juggling is a true spectacle of agility, coordination, and speed. A symbol of progression, precision, and mastery. "5G speed is like having the juggler in your pocket. With lightning-fast download and upload speeds, you'll easily be able to juggle even the busiest workdays. Whether you're a busy entrepreneur, a creative, or just someone who wants to stay connected. Juggle your tasks with ease with QCell 5G speed. The future is here. It's fast, reliable, and efficient. First brought to you by QCell. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching TV this morning. Now, from the proverb, we're just going to head right on to what the newspapers are saying. So we'll just be picking stories randomly. And then one online and, you know, on almost all the newspapers is about how UTG transportation crisis.
Already?
Already, there's
Oh,
a
dear.
UTG. You know, we see it in the video, students are scrambling, like rushing. Some even had to miss classes.
Is it because they turned up late or because there weren't enough vehicles?
Yes,
What,
so
this is Gambia, where everybody's always late.
Actually, we have
you know.
to follow up on this.
Yeah.
So Maya, the communications officer at the Ministry of Higher Education, she's actually really open to conversations. I think we can contact her, as well as the UTG communications team, just to find out what the problem was. But according to the video, you can tell that they were all present, but then the boss came and then all of them couldn't fit in.
Oh, there weren't not enough space.
Yeah,
around the
not
bus.
enough space. You can see people pushing each other, according to
Right.
the video I saw this morning.
Right, right.
You know, people pushing each
I
other.
think we have to investigate.
Yeah,
that
we
one.
need to investigate that. So some had to be left
Yeah.
behind. So I
Yeah,
don't
because
know.
we were getting quite excited
About
about,
the
the
15
new
buses.
the new campus,
The
the
new
15
campus, yeah.
buses.
Yeah, it's too
And-
early.
But 15 buses is probably not enough.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
be
I'm-
honest.
I-
And
I-
we
I
always
think-
felt that would
Yeah,
be
they've
the
been
case.
allocated
But I
the
think the
15
reason-
buses, but
Yeah.
according to the video we saw.
But I think
Well-
also because obviously it's much cheaper if you get that bus than if
Yeah,
you
it's
get
10
the normal
going and
transportation.
the
coming.
normal transport.
Yeah,
So
Faraba
everybody
is-
will try and get
Faraba-
on.
Yeah, and
Faraba is
also
far.
obviously it's difficult for students to pay for themselves.
Yeah.
You know.
But I am pretty sure, I mean, as far as this is the first time it's happening, authorities will sit together and look at
And
the,
see
look
how
at the
they can
matter.
solve it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if at all it persists,
Yeah, of
then
course.
we
Then
can,
we
then
will
we
raise
know there is a
eyebrows.
problem.
I think we
But-
need to
yes.
find out what is the problem.
Yes,
exactly.
we need to.
So, yeah,
We need
yeah.
to.
That's-
So
that's-
yeah, but obviously, I
But
just
it's a
feel like if
shame.
it's the 15, if it's organized properly, because they sent out, you know,
And they have pickup points.
they have
don't
pickup
they?
points. So I don't know, but anyway, sometimes
But-
issues as such also
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
But obviously, right now that the campus is new, you know, media outlets will be waiting on the smallest thing to
Yeah,
also
yeah,
just
yeah.
send it out.
Exactly.
So,
So,
we
well,
do not
this
also
is the
want to
first
blow
time
things
it's
out of
happening.
proportion.
I mean,
So-
for us, it's just looking into
mean-
it to know, is there
Yeah.
a problem? What is the problem? And how can it be solved?
Yeah, that's
really?
it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
moving on, you know, World Food Program is also boosting MOPSI school feeding program monitoring.
Oh, cool.
You know, these school feeding programs. I don't know. Have you ever, Sierra Leone, have you any of you?
Yeah.
I
been-
went through it.
You went through the school feeding?
Yeah.
Okay, and you too?
Yeah, we
Because
used to have
it
that
used
in
to
our
be-
school.
Used
I
to be
mean,
CARE,
Okay.
You know.
a U.S. Agency that fed pretty much all of West Africa.
Yes.
And even though I grew up in a house where before the CARE program came, you know, my parents would provide us with lunch, sandwiches and so on to have at lunch.
Yeah.
And I always used to feel guilty. And I remember one day I took my sandwiches and I looked around and my classmates,
Yeah.
none of them had lunch.
Okay.
And this was before the feeding program came in. So I just said, oh, take.
Oh,
It's the
nice.
worst thing I could have done. Man, the
They-
fight, you know,
No way.
you know, even I got knocked off the stairs in by people trying to grab the lunch. And I thought, I'm not never going to do this again.
yeah, but I
I
think-
remember it
Oh,
I mean,
very,
Mr.
very
Mr. Ade, at some,
clearly.
yeah, I know. At some
It
point,
was a silly thing.
yeah,
That
I
was
think
crazy.
that was
But it's a
that
thing.
was silly.
Because when you even want to give bread, you have to hold it tight.
Yeah.
And somebody
But when
cuts
the
a
when the
little-
feeding program came in,
Then
it was
that
the
changed.
food was fantastic. I have to say,
Really?
the food was fantastic. I
Okay.
really looked forward to lunchtime. All of us, and you know, my class was near the kitchen,
Yeah.
so you could smell
Yeah.
Aroma.
wafting
Already
the aroma
coming.
wafting into, and you think, oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait for lunch
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. It
Yeah,
was really good.
we used to have that.
And that was good.
You know, during break times, we,
course, the
we
teachers
go
took a
out
lot of
and
the
eat. We like
gallons
they'll tell
home.
us you can
Yes.
just organize yourself in a queue.
Yeah, yeah,
You go and
right.
collect your plate,
Yeah,
go and
that's it.
eat. So I
Yeah.
think those were good days.
They were
I mean,
fantastic.
we
Yes.
really
I
had
didn't.
very
I,
good
at
time.
the time that I was going to school, I
That
think
stopped.
it stopped.
It has
The
stopped,
school
yeah,
feeding
it stopped.
program stopped.
I mean, it just stopped in Sierra. I think
Yeah.
I think Madabio has tried to bring it back in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether he has or
Yeah.
not, but he certainly
Yeah,
was.
for me,
talking
it
about
actually stopped. And I think the school feeding program is really good because kids go to school without food.
It was a
and
great.
it makes them want to go to school.
Not only that,
You
it was a
know?
great equalizer.
Yeah.
Whether you came from a rich family or
Or
poor
not.
family or not, we all enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, and nobody felt, oh, look at what you've got. You know,
Yeah.
and compare, oh, look what you've got. So
Yeah.
you know, we all had the same food, and it was fantastic. It
Mm.
was really good. I really, you know, for me, those are some of the best days at school, and the food was fantastic. I have to
Yeah,
say.
I
And anybody
think-
who attended Cathedral School
Mm.
in Freetown at that time in the 60s will remember with great fondness. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so aside from that,
Yeah.
the FPAC is actually still on their resolution on the COVID-19 funds that has to do with the media.
This is Finance and Public
Yes,
Accounts Committee.
committee. And then obviously, then the GPU also came out to say that they weren't responsible for the
That
distribution.
it was not given to them to
It-
be dispersed.
to be, yes.
It was dispersed
So I
to
don't-
individual.
media
Yeah,
houses.
yeah.
So I
And-
don't
and
know where the problem lies.
We tried. Remember, we interviewed MS.
Yeah.
To try and get to the bottom of it because we were a bit concerned. I mean, and you know, he said something in there. He said, you know, before they went public, you know, the committee went public, sort of blaming us.
Yeah.
Perhaps they should have spoken to us.
Okay, like a-
and found out, you know,
Yeah.
how was it dispersed? Because it seemed quite a bad error to make to make such a public accusation against you know, an esteemed organization, against anybody really, without having seemingly gotten to the bottom of it. So but it looks like it's still rumbling on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on, today's the Liberian elections. Is George
Presidential
Weah,
and parliamentary.
yes.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's on the same day. You know, less resources, less stress, and less politics around the clock as well.
Well, this is it.
You know, so what are the prospects for George Weah?
It's honestly difficult to say
At this point.
because in almost we were discussing as we were coming in this morning, not specifically that, but somebody in Nigeria, a doctor in Nigeria, was complaining about the health service in Nigeria and about vaccination in Nigeria.
Right.
And Francis Wahen, our colleague, said everybody in every country seems to be complaining about something.
Yeah.
And it's the same in Liberia. So it depends on who you listen to.
Yeah.
If you listen to those who are kind of virulently against George Weah, they're saying that he's done a poor job, he's been rubbish, and so on. I mean, he's gotten there, half of it has been on his popularity. Obviously, the only player so far to have been African, European, and World Footballer of the Year. It will never happen again because
and
of the
his
way
challenger is
it's set.
78 years. Oh my God.
But so is Donald Trump.
I know,
And-
but
and-
that's
and-
just whoa,
and Biden
Oh.
is 80.
something. I
or
know,
whatever.
but
so
wow.
yeah, it seems to be a thing now
It's
that
just-
these elderly people are not kind of stepping aside.
They're not
for-
a 78-year-old like.
for young
Well,
people.
I mean,
so it's an interesting one.
It's telling you how
difficult
people
to call.
think. You know, when in the world. I mean, it's not only Africa now. I mean, you just mentioned Donald Trump, so it's telling you how people think. But I think if the elderly happens to step aside and give chance to the younger ones, because they have fresh brains and you know they have more ideas. I mean, to implement other
Potentially.
things.
If you know, for me, I've never believed in give it to somebody just because they're young. If they're young and they're good, fine. If they're young and they're rubbish, don't give it to them.
Yeah.
You know, give it to the person who can do it best, regardless of their age. If they are old enough and they are competent enough to do the job or good
Competence
enough,
really matters.
that is what matters, not their age, you know, whether it's too old or too young. No, for me, that's an irrelevance. But to go back to Liberia very quickly, I think there may be 3-4 main contenders.
Yeah.
George Weah seems
There are
confident.
2 women as well. So altogether, it's the 19 candidates.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of main contenders,
Yeah.
there are probably 4
Yeah. Around.
kind of front runners.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see whether it goes through a second round or
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
or whether he wins outright.
You think there'll be a possible coalition or something?
You see, had there been a coalition, I suspect Weah would have been defeated. Actually, I mean,
But the
because
fact
there's a
that
lot
all
of
the 19 are on their own.
they're going to lose. They're going to leak votes from each other.
Obviously.
But they tried to get them to be a coalition, but it has not really happened. And some of the people who are not even there are still quite popular, like Charles Taylor. Some of the people who are, you know, Charles Taylor loyalists, you know, they still hope that, you know, somebody who's on a Charles Taylor ticket will win.
So, we're wishing them a successful and a peaceful
Peaceful one.
one,
Yeah.
because already in September about 3 people died in relation to
Yeah.
election-related
violence.
violence.
Yeah.
So we just, you know, wishing them. I saw in one of our journalism page that I'm a part of networks in Africa.
Right.
You know, some of the journalists that, we head to the polls tomorrow, send us some love. I'm like, yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a couple of interviews that journalists have given and analysts have given,
Yeah.
including Dr. Robtel Paley, who came here and we interviewed her.
Yeah.
She's been very scathing about George Weah's record. She said
Yeah.
it's been very, very poor, and that he does not deserve another
second.
term. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so aside from that, we already started this conversation yesterday. Today is Mental Health Day.
Yep.
And I think on Mental Health Day, we should reflect on the fact that the only psychiatric hospital that we have here is Tanka Tanka. And all referrals from the Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital across the board, all referrals are made there. You know, so
Well,
the thing is,
yeah, I mean,
it's an issue, and looking at how the structure looks, it's a problem. And
Sierra
then
Leone is a lot bigger than Gambia, and
Yeah.
they only have one.
as well,
And up to about 10 years ago, they were still chaining people to the walls there. And
That's-
you can go online and you can find
that's-
that is
yeah,
quite
but
shocking.
obviously
They did not know how to treat people. It's getting slightly better now, and now instead of one single psychiatrist or we have 4. Which is an improvement, but
Yeah.
it's for a country of 8 million or whatever, that's still not enough.
yeah, but obviously they're not a country that we should learn from. Then
No,
yeah,
absolutely
but
not.
yeah, but then
But there are similarities between our peoples.
Our situation is not also looking good. I think country like governments should also redirect their focus when it comes to, you know, mental health related issues.
It's
you know,
you know, how do we prioritize?
Exactly.
Because if you live in a country where people see somebody, you know, our colleague yesterday was talking about people who go around talking to themselves. Instead of showing concern for that person, people will make fun of the
of
person.
that person, exactly.
And so, you know, we don't sort of treat mental health. I know in England now and in America, they're trying to get black people because the records of black people going for mental health counseling and so on is low compared to white
you go
people.
for therapy or mental health counseling,
in those
and then
in those
people
you know,
won't take
even
you
in
seriously.
in the West, where you have black populations that have been there for years, they are such a small percentage
That
who actually
go
go for counseling that it's
Well, I think Janaba mentioned the issue of Tanka Tanka here. I mean, at some point, I mean, if you are to take maybe a person who is mentally stable to Tanka Tanka, people sometimes feel okay, I don't have to take this person to this place.
Because there's a stigma surrounding the institution.
It's better for me to keep the person
They
here.
even have to change the name.
Find out.
It used to be Kampama.
Kampama,
and then
now
when you,
Tanka Tanka.
Kampama, they,
you know.
kids used to say, oh, sort of, like, it was
Well,
kind of stigma.
Kampama.
And Tanka Tanka now also is taking the same.
Yeah, so I think they need to go out and they need to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, to tell people.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, I mean, when you are sent there, I mean,
but
there are a lot of things attached to this.
Even using the phrase mental health and so on. In Sierra Leone, Kisi used to be the lunatic asylum.
Yeah.
That was its name, you know. So but we don't call people lunatics
right.
anymore. So you know, it's.
But thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. And you know, I just hope that on mental health, World Mental Health Day, reflect on the things that we do not like. Reflect on the say no when you have to say no. I always say no when it's a no for me, or I feel someone's trying to take advantage of me. Like, always speak out. It's always important to do that, because if you don't, people are not going to be aware of what you're going through.
Your mental health is important.
It's a priority.
And it has to be your priority above anything.
Not any other person's priority. But thank you so much, Mr. Ade, for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
All right, so we'll just go for a short break, and when we come back, we have a whole, you know, packed program to come up, as we'll be joined by the police PRO. He'll be talking about the anti-crime unit arrested 17 for assault. Also, we'll be joined by Mr. Alpha Jallo, who's the president of the Consumer Protection Consortium, because, you know, they took few supermarkets to court for selling expired products, but then it seemed
couple of cases were dismissed.
Why
were they dismissed?
That's the question.
That's what we want to know.
Yes, we'll be right back.
QCell mooy suñu boss. QCell mooy suñu boss. Go, ebe dawa full network suda tili QCell. Ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata QCell. Most reliable network dumala geta wati QCell. Wo quality man nyon soda jam pona manke QCell. Hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network ko se taria QCell suñu boss. Nyo finjeka indi 3G ñu delu taxi 4G plus, and now we bring you 5G. 5G. First and only 5G provider. Itella follow adi doron nesa keno. Gambia bela nyon tawa fele QCell. Ko fasunta buka busi QCell. Itella molti milka kukutol nati Gambia. QCell meta lori la kilianol yele imanyina amanda wala itella ka quality dila dadi ma itelle silo wala wodol mume be keno ma. QCell sunyu boss. QCell sunyu boss. QCell sunyu boss. QCell sunyu boss. Connection be bambandi QCell sunyu boss. QCell most innovative QCell sunyu boss.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. Like I said before we went for the break, we'll be joined by the police PRO cadet ASP Modu Musasi. So thank you so much for joining us on the program. Most of the time we've just been having you online or over the phone, so it's good that you're here with us today to update us in relation to happenings. And the latest is that the anti-crime unit arrested 17 for assault. You know, it's all over the newspapers. So, you know, what are some of the circumstances surrounding this particular incident?
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. Jainaba, and also my big brother, Ibrahim, how are you? Yes, rightly so, as you mentioned. It was, I mean, I would call it a terrible weekend for the people of Sinchusori, to be specific, and also to the officers on the ground, though it's our daily duties. As police officers, we've been informed, the anti-crime unit, to be specific, at Banjudending. Personally, I was called as late as 1:30 in relation to something that's happening around that end. And most times, I would give the telephone number of the commissioner, that is the commanding officer for the anti-crime, that is Momodu So, who is doing a great job with his team out there. Yes, an alert was sent, and a team of police officers went to the scene to see what's happening. But at the time they arrived, most of those people fled away. But fortunately for us, there were witnesses on the ground who were able to lead the police officers to identify, and also leading to the arrest of one of the leaders of one of the gangs, to be specific.
And they have a name.
Yeah, they named themselves as
Bulfale gang?
Yeah, there are two actually what happened, we got to know that there is a group of people in Sinchu Alaji and a group of people in Sinchu Sori who call themselves as Never Again Gang and Ghetto Forces Crew, something like that. So, and this is a concern, you know. What we know in the Gambia happening where football clubs, youth club, you know, we know at the fields people fight after games and all that, yes. But having to have gang, and we need to define what gang is. I guess we'll get to that. But just to at least buttress on the issue, yes, when these people were arrested, and among that, some people also were injured on the head and also on their body lacerations and all that. So the police officers took these people to the hospital where they were treated. Fortunately, it was not very serious, so they were treated and then allowed to go home. And the police took the opportunity to interview them and get statement from them. And with the presence of one of the leader, Sekou Jaju, also led another team back to Sinchusori. To effect arrest of those people that he named to be part of them. And we are able to have about 17 of them. But fortunately, investigation is ongoing, and we were able to realize that not all the 17 were involved, actually. Are members of the gang per se, because when things happen, I mean, mostly people would be named as being part of certain things. Exactly. So verifications were done to this effect, and at the moment, as I speak, we have 5 who are confirmed to be members of this gang. So getting back, the preliminary investigations revealed that these are a group of people call themselves a gang name in Sinchu Alaji, whose members were attacked by the other gang. Okay, so it's like a revenge attack kind of.
In Gambia here.
I mean, it's unfortunate, you know, looking at the circumstance and looking at the way they did that, and because it was at night, you wouldn't be able to differentiate who is the next person is, and you're attacking an entire village. You know,
kind of a war.
I mean, had you met in a location, then you know, okay, you all are here for this. Specific. Yes, but I mean, going in a village, you wouldn't know who is who. It's dark. People are in their houses and all that, knocking doors or breaking doors and windows and all that. And that was chaotic. That was terrible, you know. Exactly.
Yeah. So, PRO, we want to know if all these people that are arrested, are they all Gambians?
At this moment, I can't authoritatively say that. I actually haven't looked at the statistics in terms of the demographic differentiating, especially the sex. We know they are within this age group, 15 to 69, as young as 15, who were arrested, and as high as or old as 69, you know. But their nationality, to be specific, is something that I have not looked into, so I can't authoritatively say all are Gambian or not, actually, yes.
Exactly. I think, I mean, it's very serious, I mean, to have you know, such an incident, gangs against gangs. At some point, we've not seen like that for a very long time. I think this is the first time seeing gangs attacking gangs in the Gambia.
Yeah, I think this is important and it's relevant for people to actually understand. And I think the investigation will reveal that we want to understand really, is this really a gang or just group of boys, you know, in a straza, they would call it, drinking attire and all that. A member of theirs is being attacked as a revenge, they going back, or it's actually a gang, because what we do know of a gang usually are people who are involved in criminalities, crime and criminalities and all that, robbing and, you know, making all sort of things here. So this is important to us as a police to differentiate. Yes, to determine, to really know what the motive is. For now, what we do know is what it looks like is just boys around, you know, going to fight for a brother, or that's what it looks like. But a lot could be behind the scenes.
So what were some of the arms that they used?
Actually, some of the arms that we've seen, they have cutlasses and, you know, and hammers, the martos and all that, the local tools. So we've not seen serious weapons as we wouldn't say they're not lethal per se, because they can be harmful.
They can be, but not as
weapons in terms of firearms per se. You know, it's not within. We didn't see anything like that within the material recovered. So this is why I am saying the possibility is that, like it is being said initially, could be, you know, a brother fighting for a brother. Yeah, but I mean, the manner in which it is conducted,
it is done.
It's crazy, you know, because you have, you know, young boys and girls, men and women who will pass within the communities, having to come at a time that early or that late in night, and trying to break into compounds when people are sleeping, resting, relaxing from work, or others preparing for work following day. I think this is not what the youth should concentrate on of our country. Looking at the circumstance, we are a developing country. And it's important that our youth concentrate on what is important, what is relevant. I mean, they have a quota, you know, to the development of this country. So that's what we expect them to, not to be involved in such heinous, you know, activity.
Yeah, so due to time constraints, we'll just shift our attention to other issues surrounding the police, because we've seen that last week we saw few arrests, or a bail also has been revoked for a certain individual, Alhaji Bora, the comedian. So, you know, can you just tell us what prompted his bail being revoked, and all of the other things surrounding it? And at some point, you know, it was mentioned that he was arrested and, you know, they couldn't determine his whereabouts. You know, are all these things true?
Yes, thank you for that. I think from the initial, immediately the aftermath of the incident of the shooting, a lot had been happening, and I know it's no surprise to any of us in this country that such would actually happen. The police would actually strengthen and be able to get to the bottom of the issue. And part of those, some arrests have been made just to determine, you know, what is behind the scene, what's happening, to understand the circumstance. And part of that, we are aware, Mamadou Sabuli, the Sonkos, and also Bora, among others, Mahdi recently have been arrested, and like any other, and who knows, maybe more would be arrested, because it all depends on what actually the police determine to be reasonably, you know, contributing to the investigation. So what I would say is that yes, like others, Bora has been arrested and bailed and rearrested, and investigation is ongoing. And for Bora specifically, that's the question. Yes, the investigator would lead us to the next step. Okay. And we are aware at the beginning, the first investigation before the initial bail, he was in charge. Yes, that was right. He was bailed, and investigation was going. He was reporting on bail, and at a point in time, it was revoked because there was need for more, you know, so that he can enlighten us with respect to the ongoing investigation, and that's it. And we expect that for everybody. And the misconception is that it doesn't mean that when a person is being arrested, you know, after 72 hours, he must be charged. That's not what it means.
But that's what the law says.
Must be charged.
Well, as in not
okay, what I'm trying to, this is what I'm saying. So this is what I'm trying to.
At least you know, action needs to be taken at that point in time.
Exactly.
Within that 72 hours.
Exactly. So this is the issue. The person is informed of the reason for.
Exactly. Like you need to explain to the
reason for the arrest.
But was he informed?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's informed why he was arrested. Even the public is informed of why he was arrested. So then the investigation into that would determine the charge and would determine what will come again after that. So one of those is, if we can't actually establish a charge within that period, then there are 2 options. He will be released, and investigation would continue. In that investigation, we can recall him back, you know, to based on. So
there's still a tendency for him to be recalled at any point.
Exactly, like any other, the Sabali, the Sonko, the Mahdi. So anybody.
Yeah. So how about Uncle, you know,
yes,
Mahdi Tabate, you know, what prompted the arrest exactly?
Yes, exactly. Mahdi equally, you were aware that at a point in time he was invited to come to the police, and that wasn't possible, and our members went there to actually see him and understand what's happening, why he didn't respond. And it was indicated that he was not feeling well, and he was allowed to get better, you understand. And until yesterday, in the morning, early hours of the morning, then he was arrested, you know, and then arrested, and currently is under police custody. And the reasons for this is the police is looking at everywhere that will be able to give us any information, not only on the murder case per se, but in general, the security situation of this country. It is important that we do everything possible to maintain.
Okay, apart from the shooting incident, is there any major security concern as we speak?
At the moment, there are a lot of concerns. You've seen people with weapons. You've seen people with crime, like the Sukuta, what is the name? The Sinchu Alaji, Sinchu Sori issue and all that. We are not relating it to, per se, you know, they are the very one behind all this thing. We are not saying that. But also, if you're an opinion leader, I mean, you're making a commentator on social media where most of the youth, I mean, look up to you and also would be listening to you, what you're saying and all that. Is important that you be measured in what you are saying, and that also you are able to substantiate any claim that you will be making to the public. That is important. And And if the police, for any reason, would want to clarify certain information, certain comments, it's within their responsibility to do that, and that's one of those things that we are actually doing, because anything is possible, because the social media, we do know, is very powerful. It can be used as a weapon for development, and also the other side of that.
Yeah.
So anything that is on social media that may have potential to disrupt the peace of this country is something that we will actually look into.
Yeah, Piero Lam, finally, how is the investigation going as to what leads to the death of the man found in the Basse graveyard? Is it yes,
Basse graveyard?
The Basse cemetery.
That's news to me.
It's news to you?
In Upper River region, we actually carried the story.
When?
That was last week, yes.
He it's actually suspected suicide, but investigations are ongoing.
Yes.
But it's
I think you need to follow up with your team.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Recently, like you said, recently there are a lot happening, a lot of drowning cases, suspected murder cases, and suicide, and maybe one of those are one that are escaping.
Yeah, I know how busy PRO will be around this area, especially the happenings.
Yes,
so
very well. Of last week, I think one of the Banjul case, the Banjul murder case, and then we had this gun case at TSU,
the arrest.
Yes, the gun case at TSU. So all of this.
I wonder how you juggle all this.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm afraid that is all we have time for. But obviously, when PRO is here, there's a lot to ask, because there's a lot just happening, like you said, within this period. And then, just the police has to strengthen and do what's right as well. Follow the law when it comes to the arrests that we are seeing accordingly, which you're trying to justify as well.
Yes.
Yeah, which we are following up on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think I will just conclude by saying that we are grateful as an institution to the Gambian people, because we can't do this alone, and that we ask for the cooperation of the general public in ensuring that there is peace and stability.
Yeah, especially the gang aspect. I think the public can
Well, I think we don't even have to take that lightly. We don't even have to name ourselves gangs.
Yeah,
we don't
it's
have
just,
to allow
but
that.
The communities, can help when it comes to those instances.
Very
But thank you so much for joining us, and once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll just go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be taking a look at the consumer protection and its court cases rather that have been dismissed. Everybody's asking why was it dismissed and all of that. So we'll have the right person to answer those questions for us, Mr. Alpha Usman Jallow, who is the president of Consumer Protection Consortium. We'll be right back.
The future is now. With QCell's 5G network, experience speeds like never before. With our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan, get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled device. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyapus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
QCell brings you the future with our ultimate bundles. Enjoy the best voice and data bundle plans in one package. Get unlimited data packages with flexible validity and enjoy what true internet feels like. Get 30 minutes of on-net and off-net calls with 5 gigabytes of data for just $350. Or get bigger bundle packages from 10 gigabytes to 20 gigabytes with over 100 on-net and off-net voice calls and enjoy the fastest internet speed in the Gambia. You can also buy 1-day, 3-day or even 7-day packages and enjoy unlimited data bundles with uncapped speeds. Just dial *343# today and experience the limitless capabilities of the QCell network. *343# should be your favorite code to dial now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell. We innovate, others follow.
Short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And Ibrahim, like I mentioned before we went for the break, we are joined by Mr. Alpha Usman Jallow, who's the president of the Consumer Protection Consortium. So if you're a keen follower of QTV news or just current affairs, you'll be aware that some certain supermarkets were taking to the courts, you know, the Consumer Protection Court, but
The tribunal court.
yes, the tribunal, and we're eventually dismissed, and a lot of people have raised eyebrows, and, you know, and then we saw Mr. Jallo, who, you know, part of the interviews, he was talking about how they will try by all means to make sure that, you know, they utilize all other avenues to make sure that this is actually solved. So thank you so much, Mr. Jallo, for joining us. So what specifically, you know, was the gap in relation to this supermarkets being prosecuted?
Thank you, Madam. You know, and it's a pleasure to be here, to join your forum. Yes, in answer to your question, there is this issue of technicality. You know, technicality. What that technicality means, that is what we want to define. That is what we want to know. Because our challenge is that the court ruling is not yet, we've not yet got a copy of the ruling, but since we were at the courts, we know that it was based on a technicality of locus standi for the Consumer Protection Consortium. That is, the issue is who can file a complaint, you know, to the tribunal. This was the issue. The issue is not about whether expired goods were found.
Okay, that is already established
That is
and confirmed.
already, and violations have been done.
Okay.
So that's
aside.
That's aside.
Yes.
So the businesses are culpable, and they should answer to the law.
Right.
The other thing is now, the CPC filed the case.
Right.
So we were the complainants. So the courts, according to the court ruling, the CPC does not have the locus standing, because according to a certain section, that is section 21, subsection 2 of the Consumer Protection Act, there are, you know, it is specified who can file in complaints to the tribunal. So this is where the technicality is. And, you know, we think we are not lawyers, but then the commission, that is the Gambia Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, plus the CPC, would consult with the commission members, among who we know are lawyers, so that we would look at this and see whether this technicality stands. But as far as the CPC is concerned, we are a legal entity, and we are not representing only a single group of consumers, because we are registered with the Attorney General's chambers to represent all consumers in this country. Yeah, you know. Yeah. So this is the. So
when it comes
challenge.
to, you know, that particular proceeding on that day, supermarkets were the only ones affected?
Actually, it wasn't only supermarkets, depending on how you define. You had supermarkets and mini markets.
Okay.
But again, you had Gazem, a cement factory.
Okay.
That was also found wanting. So,
Yeah,
they
so
were up to about 10.
10. But
business
also,
entities.
I think we see the retailers on Sarakunda. There's actually a junction called Expired something.
Expired
Junction.
market. That's around the former Lion House.
Yes, you know. So for me, I'm also going to question what, you know, the Consumer Protection is doing in relation to that, because at least that is something in existence. We are aware of it. It's not done in closed doors, but in the open. So what are some of the engagements? Because maybe before we try to catch the big fish that is actually in a supermarket and you walk in and make a decision, but how about the ones clearly displaying it to the poor people, you know? How about that?
Well, these are realities, you know, everywhere. You are talking of that popular junction.
That junction.
Go to the markets. You will still again find, you know, diluted foods, you know, expired products being sold everywhere, and even in the corner shops, you know. So this really is, you know, a situation which affects the entire country. And the Consumer Protection Consortium is an association. And, you know, in terms of capacity, you know, we cannot cover the entire country. And we are doing our bit, you know, countrywide, but we know there are institutions that are mandated, like the Food Safety and Quality Assurance Authority.
Right.
Okay, Food Safety and Quality Authority, as well as the GCCPC, the Gambia Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, and other regulators as well, even PURA, when it comes to utilities.
Right.
So this is, it should be, coming together.
That's
and,
my point. That's where I was
especially
just
most
going
of
to reach
these
to Mr.
institutions.
Jallow. Do you think?
So that is where you have the gaps.
Do you think you should have a platform in common? Because just the last time we saw the food safety and the planned the planned services, they decided to come together to have this partnership, because obviously at some point there was a duplication of efforts or misunderstanding of mandates. So do you think there should be a common ground, a common platform to say, okay, we are all working towards the same thing?
Yeah.
Don't you think because each person is doing something individually, that is why then we can't realize what we want in this area?
Yeah, sometimes this happens, and I think sometimes it's maybe a misunderstanding or misrepresentation of the mandates of some of these regulate institutions. And it is important that it is clear so that their mandates don't conflict.
Exactly.
Sometimes you go to PURA, they tell you, no, it is the GCCPC's mandate. Sometimes the GCCPC is responsible for consumer protection, affairs. Okay, that's the commission. But then when it comes to food and feed, we know the Food Safety and Quality Authority is responsible and has the expertise. Yeah. But they have to work together. And that is why the CPC has failed in this case. All right? If we already have, expired products, which CISO memos have been given, and the products are there, it is labeled clearly that these are expired. If these were products that were doubtful, then the food safety, would have been called in. It would have been necessary to call in the food safety. To
actually vet again.
To vet and test and check. And regardless of that even, there should have been a collaboration from the onset. But in this case, all right, the GCCPC, together with the CPC, if you look at the genesis of this, in fact, these cases, is that we, the CPC, received complaints, about violations of the, proliferation of expired products being sold in the market, like that junction you said. Now, what we did was, given pursuant to Section 18, subsection 1, we are mandated to file a complaint with the Commission. And the Commission would then investigate. That's the job of the Competition and Consumer Protection
so we have
Commission.
5 minutes to go.
Right.
So now, the main thing now is we want to take something with us while we leave here, at least assurance that what is needed will be done. So now that this has been dismissed, what is next? What other avenues do you wish to exploit to ensure that justice is served? Because at the end of the day, these are individuals who are affected when supermarkets sell expired products.
Yeah, well, yes, the case is dismissed based on technicalities.
Like you mentioned.
But it doesn't mean the case is done and dusted.
No.
So we are going to converge, that we would sit and review and see who has the locus standi and whether even CPC has the locus standi, to prosecute. And in that case, then maybe the ruling would be revisited. Okay, we would appeal. So we are going to sit together with the relevant institutions, and this time round we hope Food Safety and Quality Authority would also join in, so that we, together with the GCCPC, we look at how we can push and get these violations.
So which means what you're talking about now should have been what you all should have started with before.
Well, yes, that would have been the most ideal. But like we said, this was also a clear-cut case of expired products which are already expired. Even if the food safety is not involved,
it's already clear.
It's already clear, and evidences are available.
Right.
So they could be prosecuted. Okay, because the evidence is there and they were found on the shelves. They were selling, offering this. So therefore, these are violations, clear cut.
Okay.
Now, but it would be most ideal, even during the investigation stage and so on, even after, for all these institutions to get together. And I think that is what we should do now, and not leave these cases. Let the business entities not think that it's all over.
Oh, they're above the law.
Yeah. These cases can come back because we already
So
have
are you
all
trying
the
to tell me
evidences.
that a prosecution has never been done for violators in relation to this incident?
Prosecutions are being done.
Okay, and normally
You know,
what are the consequences?
You see, if you meet the section like individual consumers,
Right.
go to the consumer tribunal, they forward cases and they win.
Okay.
And again, you have other entities also that file cases and win.
Individually.
All right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that cases, the consumer tribunal is there and it is functioning.
Okay.
All right? But it is just in this case
Okay.
that given section
And the
that is
technicalities you're
and the
talking about.
technicalities that is involved,
Yeah.
which we still want to establish whether.
So there's no,
Yes.
there's no issue of corruption.
No.
Suspect.
No.
Yeah,
We
because
are not-
obviously,
this is-
we've seen allegations when it comes to even certain supermarkets being mentioned to say, oh, just, they're trying to do some
No.
acts
we,
underneath.
no.
It's just good to clear.
Yeah. No. Those are just
Those are just allegations.
allegations,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
definitely we have trust in the institution, especially the consumer tribunal.
Okay.
Even if they err, but we have trust in that, and
Okay.
that is what we want to look at. And we also know that the constitutions and the CPC are committed to protecting consumer rights.
Yeah,
and
it's
welfare.
good. It's good that we
Yeah.
have bodies that are at least doing such a job. I mean, it will also make people to be aware. I mean, and be careful of doing certain things in the market. And at the same time, they will also compensate the job of food safety, what they are doing, because I think sometimes there are lapses in other areas, because we've seen a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of complaints over the years.
Right.
So I think it's a good one. So let us just be consistent. Consistency too is very significant. We don't just have to do something at the same time. We will not come out with something positive.
Exactly. Maybe to conclude, I just want to say, sale of expired products is just one bit of a lot
whole
of
lot of
menace
violations
that we have. And I just want to say this, that you have in our markets price hiking of major consumer items, especially our basic commodities like rice, flour, oil, and so on. It is our mandate to look at that, and the general public should look out for this. And all these other regulatory institutions should go in. And you again have the prevalence, of course, of the sale of poor quality and fake and expired products. We know even fake, medicinal products. Palm oil and seasoning, spices being mixed.
Right.
We have a lot of diluted and mixed products, from sour milk to groundnut paste to all in the markets. So it's not only about what the supermarkets are doing or what is being
the
sold,
local
but
level.
in our local markets,
Right.
people are dying.
Yeah, yep.
So I wish we have
Especially
such
with the
programs,
groundnuts,
not only
the aflatoxins.
Exactly.
The aflatoxins.
So consumer welfare is a must. It should be a concern of both government and the general public. We should all be vigilant and make sure that we take this up seriously, and work towards saving lives.
Right. Yeah.
This, I think, and I wish these programs are also done, in the local languages, so that people will hear.
Yeah,
about
so
this.
due to time constraints, we cannot achieve that.
Okay.
But it's something that we should look into. It's a very significant area. But also, thank you so much, Mr. Jallo, for your expertise, for your work. And, okay. So,
we
moving
can at least do this in the local language, at least for 5 minutes, because it's significant. I mean, this is important for our people to know. Dañ bëggoon rek nga wax ñu lu tax ngeen taxaw ba pare at the same time lu ñu waxtaan fii maanaam njuuj njaaj bu nekk si marché bi dañ bëggoon ñu setal ko waaw Jallow
waaw ci gàttal comme que juróomi minute la ñun Consumer Protection Consortium mbootaay lañ boo xam ne ñun ñooy jóg pour xeex ak bàyyi xel pour aar tam mooy ñun consumer ñi ñuy wax consumer mooy ñun jëndakat yi ak ñoo xam ne ñun ñooy njëriñoo xam nga ay marchandises yi ñooy jaay ak services yi ñooy joxe mooy ñun consumer léegi ñun suñ mbootaay bi ñun itam loolu lañ register te du groupe bu ndaw de ñun duñ association ñun we are a consortium dañ register di attorney general ci bunti nguur gi ñun nag ci loolu mooy suñ liggéey ñu ngi ci ko am nag ñu ngi liggéey ak ñoom food safety niñ ko waxee ak GCCPC ak yeneen mbootaay puura ak ñeneen te dafa am solo torop ñun ci lu ñoo jóg waxtaan bii nag ñun dañ ekkati woon dañ yëg ne am na ñuy jaay product yoo xam ne dañ expire xam nañ ne na mu ngi am fu ne wante ci supermarket yi ñu def joint investigation bu ñu defee complaint bi ak commission ñu def joint investigation ñu jàppa fukki company wala mini market ak supermarket ak cement company yoo xam ne ñu ngi lifin loo xam ne lu expire bale dafa manqué diisaay bi mooy ciment bi ñu jël yëpp nag ñu lifin a case ñu yóbbu ko ci consumer tribunal bi ci court bi wante yàlla def biñ ko yóbboo mbir mi ñëw ci ne kan moo war a àggali loolu court bi parce que dafa am ci luwaay consumer dañ wax ne consumer boo xam ne xam nga da nga bokka ci consumer groupe boobu noonu mun ngaa yóbbu o nit rek nit kese nga nekk consumer nga jënda dara loolu tam nga loru ci am nga right dem court am nga right pour dem court wante ak tam consumer association boo xam ne yaa ngi nekkal nit ñi ñun nag foofu lañ nekk ñun duñ groupe boo xam ne rek ay nit ñu register ak ñun rek déedéet ñun dañ nekk mbootaay boo xam ne réew mi yëpp consumer yëpp lañ fi nekk te di nga yëngu ci mbiri téléphone yu seer yeeg mbiri courant ak nawet bii lii leeg ak mbiri lekka yoo xam ne yu ñoo yokka price yi maalo ak price yi diw be price control regulation mënuta am ba ci mbiri soow yee dege yi ñoo jaxase
diwlin beeg diwtiir geeg
ci marché bi
waaw
gis nga mbir mi dafa doy waar ba nga xam ne ñii biñ leen yóbboo bañ ne ñu ne daal ñun comme que du suñ memba moo dem jënda ba loru rek fu mu ne nii bon daal case bi moom daaxa nañ ko du wut ne nag case bi du del si waat léegi dinañ toppa loi ba seet bon kan mooy mun a àggali case bi den ñu àggali ko wante ñun fi ñuy wax mooy suñ liggéey emut fii na nit ñi xam ne consumer protection consortium mu ngi fi ak yeneen consumer association nañ ñëw ñu bokka ba pare ñu bàyyi seen xel nag foo gis expired good expired product wala loo xam ne ñu ñam yoo xam ne ñu ngi koo jaxase ak yeneen fexeel nga yëgoo bunti nguur comme food safety loolu mooy seen liggéey GCCPC itam ñoom itam loolu seen liggéey la bu dee ci mbiri téléphone ak électricité ak yooyu puura mooy seen liggéey ñun nag ku ñëw ci ñun ñu ngi fu ne ku ñëw ci ñun rek dinañ fexe ñu xam ban mbootaay o ban bunta moom moo responsible ci loolu su boobaa den ñun itam ñu jóg ñu taxaw ñu gis ne dëgga dox na lii daal suñ aaxa ak suñ yelleef mooy ñun consumer yi am nañ ko lii daal la ñu wax ñu ne daal buñ amee suñ sago lii dinañ am programme yu bëri yoo xam ne dinañ ko bugg di def pour nit ñi waaw lii daal moom la
waaw am na solo de monsieur Jallow comme noo ko waxee rek ay affaire yu bëri ñoo nekk daw si marché bi soo gisee feebar yu bëri sax ñu ngi koo am da ngaa gis ñi nga xam ne dañoo lekka li nga xam ne daf leen a lor loolu lu am solo la pour ñu taxaw si mu ngi mel ni léegi comme waxoon nga lu am solo nga ne su ma jëndee tey dara mu lor ma mun naa dem direct si code bi nag naka nga siy demee
code bi bu dee ne ci ñun nga ñëw di nga jaaree da nga am pour jaaree nag ci commission bi mooy GCCPC ñoom ñu ngi kóotu dégg nga office bi nguur gi ñoom lañ taxawal boo da ngaa jaaree ci ñoom den nga soga àgga ci code bi dégg nga loolu noonu moom GCCPC seen number si ñoom ku lifin rek di nga ko mun a am te ñun boo ñu contacté tam ñun dinañ la mun a lifin jokkale ak ñun lii daal moom moo ci nekk wante di nga mun a dem ci court bu dee ne da nga jënda dara loo xam ne lu expire la wala nga dem jënda dara sax fekk ne baaxut quality bi baaxut ñu ne la déedéet jënda nga ko ba pare romba na 24 hours doo ko mun a delloo loolu yëpp dafa bokkut ci luwa dégg nga wala nga jënda dara nga yaakaar ne lii la woon fekk ne ndeke du loolu boolem teexa wala jafe-jafe wala loo xam ne daf laa lor yow consumer bi nga nekk individual nga nekk groupe na nga yëgoo ak consumer protection
léegi finally balaa ngaa dem xam nga laajoon naa la si angale about junction boobu nekk Serekunda foofu lan nga foog ne lañ si mën a def because foofu gis nañ leen yëg nañ ko ne ñii ñu ngee jaay expired products dañoo wàññi price bi xam nañ seen existence daal du ne comme lu ñu riir la
waaw ñun itam agali nañ loolu food safety and quality authority agali nañ ko fa te du foofu rek even gannaaw ay samari gannaaw ay samari ci boppam ay samari cinéma
am na ñu fa
foofu tam dafa am ñu fa nekk ñoo xam ne even yëg nañ ne dañ dee jël lifin di génnee ba pare di stamp ak yeneen dégg nga bon nag li ñuy wax mooy na food safety ak quality authority ak ñun si suñ boppa ñun ñëpp nañ bokka ñu toppi lii nii dégg nga ñii ñu arrest leen parce que dangaa dem jàppa ñeena su ëllëgee ñeneen ñëwaat ñu continuer dafa am business yoo xam ne ñoom dañuy import buñ importé ñu xam ne li lee ngee lifin rek dañ ko dee jël ñu puus ko borom puus yi lee yooyu bon nag ñoo ci junction yi foofu di jaay wante ñooñu ñu ndaw ñi lañ de ñoo xam ne ñoo ko dee isi ak borom warehouse
ñooñu ñooy problème
ñooñu bu dee ne yow clé nga foofu noonu rek da ngaa gis ne bale di nga ko sol ñële tam nag buñ leen tiyee dañ leen war a jaarale ci yoon de parce que
waaye téewuñ leen ñu ngi fa ba léegi ñu ngi fa taxaw di def lu leen ne
léegi moom nag xam naa ne daal liggéey bi ñun ak food safety ak GCCPC yëpp dañ war a jóg ñu
ngeen def
ñu def
ak media bi
ak media
ñëpp
a si am stake ak nit yi koo jënda tamit community si
nit ñi tam
waaw xam nañ ne dëkk bi tànga na métti na dang na waaye tamit sa xaalis bi ngaa jëlati pour demati lopitaan tamit beneen xaalis la moo nekk soo suñ ko seetee noonu rek ñun ñëpp dinañ def lu gën
dañ war a nit ñi xam ne booy jënda dara sax na nga
seetal de
seetal
man I always check the expiry date you always have to check
gaa ñi dañ dee yombal rek
waaw
joxe loo xam ne dafa lore
waaye nag soo demee seet expire date boo xam ne dañ ko xoos ñu génnee ko
bu ko jënda
nga gis loolu tam xoos nañ ko ñu génnee ko
benn
loolu war nga si bàyyi xel
waaw boo seetee gisoo dara loolu du yoon war naa mun ngaa jël bu ko munee nga jël product bi nga àggalil ñu ko xam nga jafe-jafe bi mooy bu dee ne dañ ne foo jaar nga jënda ba pare nag luwaa soga mun a nga am witness luwaa soga tiye ñooñu bon dafa mel ni nit ki dafa jënda ñeena ñi dañoo jënda jëfandikoo ba pare loru ba pare nag luwaa soga wax ne waaw witnesses am na dafa mel ni ñun suñ case bi ñu ne dañ war a am witnesses yoo xam ne ñoom dañ jënda ñu bokka ci suñ association bi ba pare ñu jënda wante ñun dañ ne bu dee ne suñ member dafa am pour jënda ba pare ñu soog koo use as witness when di commission bi ak yeneen siis nañ ba pare joxe siisa memos gis ne yii expired products lañ bañ pare soxlaatuñ pour xaar ndax nit jëndata ndax jëndut pour ñooñu noonu ñu jaarale leen ci loi bi kon yaaxa nañ loi bi
jërëjëf uncle Alpha thank you so much for coming ba pare comme nu mu ko waxee rek ñun tamit dinañ def suñu rôle because QTV ñu ngi woon si tribunal bi wane nañ ko so loolu rek dafa nit ñi waaye jërëjëf si sa toogaay fii nii Ibrahima dafa mel ni time loolu rek
waaw lii lañ am tey
waaw
ba ëllëg incha allah
indu leen ak jàmm